Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when and where you are watching this show. Today, we have 4 topics that will take us around the world. Let's begin in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Senate officially stripped former President Joseph Kabila of his parliamentary immunity. He's now facing serious accusations of war crimes and treason, with authorities claiming there is strong evidence connecting him to the M23 rebel group.
This time, the DRC must not become a sanctuary for impunity. So we're letting justice do its job. We're promoting the rule of law. No one is untouchable in this country.
In justice, you always have to see things through to the end. And I think that instead of just speculating, it's better to have a much more complete investigation.
Just a day later, Kabila fired back in a public speech, calling out the failures of current government and President Félix Tshisekedi.
Le cœur serré.
It's with a heavy heart that I see, 6 years after I stepped down as president, that the heritage of unity that was bestowed onto our people has been completely destroyed by the very person who was supposed to protect it. The country has become lawless. The Republic has stopped being democratic, and the word of the president has now become law.
According to multiple sources, Kabila has already arrived in Goma, where he's begun consultations with leaders of both AFC and M23.
People are divided on this arrival of Kabila in the city, but the majority of people are welcoming him, as many people say that the President Tshisekedi has fallen in the situation of Eastern DRC. So if anyone can bring a solution, he's welcome. That's how Kabila is also welcomed by many people here in Goma. So the majority of locals of Goma are welcoming him, even if some of them are saying things like, he was president of this country for 18 years and he didn't stop aggression of Rwanda or the activities of militia. So even if he can come now, some people don't think that Kabila can be the solution of the problem of Eastern DRC.
A video currently circulating online appears to show French President Emmanuel Macron being slapped by his wife, Brigitte Macron. The couple, who are on official visit to Vietnam, have once again made headlines. A video now going viral globally seems to show Brigitte pushing the president in the face, sparking widespread speculation and debate.
Yeah, Sharon, it's the viral moment between the Macrons that has threatened to overshadow a huge day for the French president, his visit to Vietnam. Now, I think we've all seen the video by now, but for anyone at home who hasn't, let's take one more look through. Well, the video starts with the French president about to exit his plane that's just landed in Hanoi when a hand comes out in a red jacket and pushes his face, appears to shove his face. And this red jacket, we learn later in the video, belongs to his wife, Brigitte, who then joins him in coming down from the aircraft.
In response, both the French presidency and President Macron have reacted. And even though they admit that the video is real, they are suggesting that Russia is behind what they describe as a coordinated disinformation campaign.
Now, this is the 3rd time this month that the French president has been subject to disinformation swirling about him, or false narratives that the Élysée Palace has been correcting left, right and centre, particularly claims that have been shared on pro-Russian accounts. And according to French media and the French press in general, that is exactly what happened with this video as well. Apparently, the Élysée Palace quick denounced it as fake, suggesting that there was AI or Russian interference involved. But then they did a U-turn when the Associated Press, who filmed that video, published it in full. So this is what the Élysée Palace said after that. They said it was a moment where the president and his wife were decompressing one last time before the start of the trip by horsing around.
We were squabbling and I was joking with my wife, and I'm surprised by it. And it becomes some sort of geoplanetary catastrophe. Everybody needs to calm down and should really focus on actual news.
And this comes after another scandal that took place during a meeting of the European leaders where, allegedly, President Macron and his peers were caught with cocaine. In South Africa, the pressure is mounting following the meeting between President Cyril Ramaphosa and the US President Donald Trump in the Oval Office. The EFF leader Julius Malema shared his thoughts during the party's roadshow. Known for his outspoken nature, Malema didn't hold back when asked about the meeting. He was first questioned about a song that played at the start of the Oval Office encounter.
Where were you when I'm fit? Where were you when I'm there? So far sketchy, so far sketchy, at 13, kichima, Cyprian Konto Alliance, shoot to kill, Gamaza, kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
And gave a sharp response.
Well, I was not shocked necessarily. I knew that issue is going to arise, but that they will play videos. I was not sure. I didn't know all of that, but I knew that matter was going to arise. And I was very interested to hear how the president is going to defend the struggle song that the ANC has defended throughout the history of that song. He couldn't defend the song as a heritage. He couldn't defend the song as a struggle song. He couldn't explain the song that it doesn't in any means necessarily refer to literal killing of white people. It was used in reference to a white supremacist system of oppression in South Africa. He couldn't do that because he himself never believed in the struggle. And that was justified when he couldn't defend the struggle right at the White House. So we know for a fact that he threw the Constitutional Court under the bus. He threw the Constitution under the bus. He was not loyal to his oath of office to defend the Constitution of South Africa, where he should have pronounced that the highest court has ruled on the matter. I can't arrest him. Even if I wanted to, I have no powers. There is a rule of law in South Africa that needs to be followed. But they all understood the language, that the language is not arrest, it's killing. Yep. Why are you not killing him? Because he's going to kill white people. That's what he wanted to project, but he was not courageous enough. You have the whole former deputy president of the Youth League who sang this song, sitting there, not saying anything. The whole Minister of Public Relations, Kumbuzo Chabeni, I was with her in the Youth League. She was the youngest in Peter Mukaba's NEC of the ANC Youth League. She knows the history of this song. She's sitting there very scared. All of them shaking. The president himself shaking. Only 4 white Afrikaner males were confident. It was Rupert, the 2 golfers, and Steenhuisen. Why do you give Steenhuisen to speak in such a meeting and not give a minister of international relations? That department has been juniorized and has been undermined as a result. And that's what I asked him in Parliament, that have you juniorized this ministry? Are you playing with this important ministry? And we saw agriculture, a minister being promoted against the Minister of International Relations. Reason being the color of his skin more than anything else.
Have you engaged with any of the members of that particular delegation since that interaction at the Oval Office, like Kumbuzo Chaveni and Ronald Lamula?
No, I've not done that. I have no duty to do that. I have no relationship with them like that. So, but I will raise it in Parliament. When the president comes for questions, we'll sharply raise this matter and I will sharply raise the matter where he failed to defend the struggle and the constitution of the Republic of South Africa.
He then addressed concerns about his own security in relation to a question Trump had reportedly asked Ramaphosa during the meeting.
Well, I'm not fearful. As a revolutionary, part of being killed is one of those honors you must wear with pride. But I'm not going to be reckless. When he says to Ramaphosa, why is this man not in jail? Why are you not arresting this man? He simply means, why are you not killing this man? Because this man wants to kill white people. That's what he believes. And imperialism, especially the USA, it makes such remarks meaning something different. If you remember how they killed Gaddafi, they said no-fly zone and any other necessary means in Libya. And that meant Gaddafi is going to be killed. And that's how they took care of that situation in Libya. So we know imperialism killed. The president of South Africa was unable to defend the constitution of South Africa to say, this thing that you are accusing him of and saying to us we must arrest him. Firstly, we are a constitutional democracy and we are governed by the rule of law. The judiciary has expressed itself on this matter, including the highest court in the land. If I arrest him for that, then I will be violating the constitution of South Africa, which I must respect. He failed to do that. So when a president fails to do that, you have a responsibility to defend yourself. And that's exactly what we're doing. The EFF is more powerful now. Everybody else, all of you, including Sam Kelo, you said EFF is dead, EFF is irrelevant, and all of that, only to find it in the Oval Offices and to find it in the White House. And for a USA president to argue with the South African president who's in denial, who says, this is just a small party, it's so insignificant. He says, that's not a small party. This party can gather 100,000 people under one roof in a stadium where I can't even see a single empty seat. You can't say that is a small party. We are not a small party. That's why imperialism is very scared of us.
When asked whether President Ramaphosa was right to engage diplomatically with Trump, Malema criticized the president and the South African delegation, accusing them of incompetency. He argued they failed to provide sufficient evidence and did not effectively counter what he called false accusations.
So to engage in a diplomatic engagement which doesn't present the facts is falsehood. It's not diplomacy. Diplomacy, you say, with due respect, Mr. President, so many people have been killed in South Africa, and of this number, so many are blacks, so many are white. Majority of people being killed are black. And you do that in the best way you can. Ramaphosa can do that. He's got the temperament to can do that. I can do that. I can't do that. I'm going to be very aggressive and that meet in one way. So Ramaphosa should have presented the facts. Look, he goes to Oval Office 2 days or a day after they released the crime stats, which means Ramaphosa was sitting there knowing the crime stats in South Africa. He still doesn't say, but this is not a true reflection. And then, what kind of diplomacy? Samkelo, is this one where you are showing a picture of another country and they say it's your country and you are saying, no, if I clarify, it's going to be offensive diplomatically. Those are facts. Diplomacy never meant that the truth must not be told, facts must not be put on the table. Anyone who has not made a follow-up after that press conference, they will never know that there are no mass graves of white people in South Africa. Our president was there. He has to be. The Minister of Intelligence, Mkhumbuzo Ntshavheni, was there. She's got all the intelligence information they required. That's why she was there, to say there are no mass graves of white people. There is no genocide. Even this video you are showing me is not South Africa. Because I asked a question. Oh, is this South Africa? Where's this? I don't know, but you must outrightly say, no, it's not South Africa. Because South Africa has got no place for mass graves of white people and there's no genocide. But that is not the issue. We all know what the issue is. The issue is Israel. The issue is to push back South Africa, on Israel, on Russia. The issue is to impose Starlink without following the necessary empowerment laws of South Africa.
Today, President Ramaphosa addressed Parliament to explain the purpose and outcomes of his recent meeting with President Donald Trump, as well as the government's future plans. However, the session descended into chaos when EFF members were ejected from the chamber.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I must tell you,
Deputy Speaker.
I feel
Deputy Speaker.
I feel abused.
Deputy Speaker.
I really do feel
Honourable
abused.
members.
You didn't feel like that when Trump was abusing you in the White House. Why didn't you feel abused in the White House? You're abused by your own colleagues in South Africa.
I'm here to
Honourable
answer
members.
Abused you in the White House, you come to call abuse here. It's wrong what you're doing, President.
Honourable President,
You were
my
abused with
apologies, but,
disinformation
there's
in the
a
White
clear
House. You
intention
accuse
to
us of
disrupt
abuse.
proceedings this afternoon.
No,
Honourable
no,
Matiasi, you have just come in. Are you the enforcement? You have just arrived and now you have a point of order. What is your point?
Shifting to the topic of Israel, a recent incident in the Knesset, Israel's parliament, where a member was forcibly removed from the podium after denouncing the war in Gaza.
הדבר האחר שאני רוצה להגיד, שאתם לא יודעים כמה אני רואה אתכם חלשים. אתם אנשים חלשים. חלשים מאוד מאוד מאוד. אחרי שנה וחצי על מלחמה שהרגתם בה 19,000 ילדים, 53,000 תושבים, הרסתם את כל האוניברסיטאות, את כל בתי החולים, ואתם, אין ניצחון פוליטי. אתם מרגישים שאין ניצחון פוליטי, לכן משתגעים. למה אתם משתגעים? למה אתם חלשים? למה אתם עצובים? למה אתם לא שמחים? למה? בגלל שאין הישג פוליטי. רק מלחמה נגד חפים מפשע. רק מלחמה נגד חפים מפשע. זה מה שאתם עושים.
This came after another similar event last year, in which another Israeli lawmaker was physically removed from parliament after challenging Prime Minister Netanyahu.
אני רוצה לספר לך את סיפורו של מוחמד אבו אל-קומסאן, בן 32 מעזה. ניסיתי חודשיים לפני המלחמה ולאחר מכן חווינו את מסע הגירוש. חברת הכנסת גוטליב. עברנו ממקום למקום החל מהצפון ועד שהגענו לדיר אל-בלח. בשבת ה10 באוגוסט נולדו לי תאומים, בן ובת, אסר ואייסל. וזאת לאחר ניתוח קיסרי קשה שעברה אשתי, דוקטור ג'ומאנה ערפי. שמחה מילאה את ליבנו בבואם של ילדינו הראשונים. ההתרגשות הייתה בלתי ניתנת לתיאור. בבוקר יום שלישי ה13 באוגוסט יצאתי בשמחה לבית החולים. הוצאתי את תעודת הלידה לתינוקות שלי. מתוך שמחה שלחתי לאשתי תמונות ותעודות הלידה בוואטסאפ. אך היא לא ענתה. באותו הזמן קיבלתי שיחה מאחד השכנים ששאל אם אני בסדר. עניתי, אני בסדר. והוא אמר לי, הדירה שאתה שוכר הופצצה. מהרתי וליבי פועם מפחד ודאגה לגורל משפחתי, עד שהגעתי לדלפק הקבלה של בית החולים, וחלק מהשכנים אמרו לי ברעד, הם בתוך מקפיאי המתים. לא עברו 10 דקות מאז הוצאתי תעודת הלידה, ופתאום אני מוציא להם תעודות פטירה. התמוטטתי. בעזה יש 17,035 תינוקות שהמערכת שלך הרגה. ביניהם 825 תינוקות מתחת לגיל שנה. בעזה היום 35,055 תינוקות יתומים. הדם של כולם ירדוף אותך, ואתה בעזות מצח תוהה על כך שאתה מואשם בבית הדין בהאג. בנימין נתניהו, מהו החזון שלך? מה החזון שלך, תגיד לי? מזה 30 שנה אתה רוצח סדרתי של השלום.
לא, עצור. רד מהדוכן מיד.
רד מהדוכן מיד. רד מהדוכן מיד. להוריד אותו עכשיו. להוריד אותו עכשיו.
מה החזון שלך?
רוצח סדרתי בקפלן, לא פה.
רוצח סדרתי של השלום זה אתה.
רד מהדוכן. רוצח סדרתי, רד מפה. רד מפה. רד מפה, חצוף.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you tomorrow.